Welcome inside the Mind Mat for a special edition where I have a guest next to me.
Special. It's special.
A special.
I'm not special.
You are very special, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, and viewers, boys and girls of all ages, I present to you Mr. Paul Brown, aka Louis P. Floyd.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
And the reason I have Mr. Floyd here is he is a drone pilot. He is a local drone pilot. We live approximately 2.5 hours travel worth apart from each other.
You're down south of me, right?
Correct, correct. And he has some talents that I would like to get a little bit of insight into, and maybe you guys can ask some questions and learn something and get to know the guy. Um, and we already
I know
got
that guy, Bear FPV.
we got Bear in the chat. Let me know if you can hear us good and if you can see us good, Bear. I'm showing that I'm getting some packets.
I heard a bit of a stutter.
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
But anywho, um, so I am a new pilot, and I actually got to meet Paul at a race, and almost immediately, kind of like the rest of the people in the group, I could just tell that the personalities were just they enmeshed. So and we don't get to spend a lot of time with each other, but I've got something going on, and of course the corona and everything. But anywho, I would like to get inside your mind there, Paul.
Uh,
So
Good
tell me,
luck. I hope you
yeah.
get out.
Well, I've been in this one. It can't be any more dangerous than
Well, we actually we freestyled before. I took you to that office park. Remember?
yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
You're a little quiet, Matt. Okay,
Speak up, bro.
speak up. All right. I can just move my microphone a little closer. How's that? Is that a little bit
Ooh,
better?
there we go. That's better.
All
That'll
right.
work.
So tell me, let's start off. What do you do for a living, Paul?
I'm a music teacher.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
That that
I
I
I I teach band.
that's fantastic. I was actually I've been in the band since I was like in middle school. So
What you play? What you play?
I started out with the trumpet,
Nice.
and
Did you move to the trombone or baritone?
well, in when I moved to Florida, I joined the concert band, the marching band, and the jazz band down there. They needed a baritone player,
Yep.
so
Easiest move, trumpet to baritone.
yeah, and
Did you
then
learn bass clef or did you stay with the treble clef?
I stayed with the treble clef, and then the lead tuba player graduated, and there was only one tuba player, so he asked me if I wanted to play the tuba.
Nice.
So I played to tuba for my junior and senior year,
You get your
and
hands on a sousaphone?
absolutely they had
Nice.
a great selection of instruments to play, and then but the thing was is I couldn't quite because treble clef was still in my head. I
Mm.
figured out this quick little conversion on how to transpose the note that I was looking at into
What
the
you knew as the
at
right,
the right
yeah,
fingering, yeah. But I never
yeah.
really learned how to read treble clef or bass
Bass
clef.
clef,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's fantastic. And what
It works,
instruments
yeah.
do you play?
Well, so I started out on clarinet and then moved to saxophone. Did a lot of work on saxophone when I was in high school. Most of my elementary was in clarinet, and then I went to Syracuse University for music education and music in general, and graduated from there. Got my bachelor's and undergraduate degree, or graduate degree from Syracuse in music and music education. I've been teaching for, oh my God, 20 plus years now.
That's fantastic. See,
Yeah. I've also taught, believe it or not, drones and STEM at my school.
oh, that's okay. I think we did
I
talk about that,
Yeah.
the STEM
Yep.
program and
So
stuff. So,
I've always been very very interested in technology and how technology can infuse and create coolness in your life.
so how has this current situation affected your job and everything? Are you doing Zoom classes
That
and
sucks. It
yeah?
sucks. There's a see. It'll work if you have good internet.
Okay, yeah.
It'll work if you have a good computer. It'll work if the administration allows you through the bullshit of Ed 2D, which is this law that really clamps educators' hands about when it comes to kids and internet. Uh, if they allow you to use certain programs and software and websites, for God's sakes, it'll work. But the playing field is not equal, so it won't work. And that's the disparity. I mean, we're going to see because of this pandemic. And I don't mean to get up onto a preacher's box here, but
I asked the
we're
question.
going to we're going to see because of this pandemic the divide of the digital divide is just going to be in your face. My wife is a teacher. She has a student who has 14 other siblings.
Wow.
They have one
Computer.
crappy ass Chromebook that the school gave them to use. I mean, come on. This is going to be scary.
Yeah.
It's going to put people behind, but I'm hoping that to be optimistic about it, that we learn some shit.
Well, maybe
You know,
it will.
and try not to repeat
Yeah.
just stupid things and learn new cool things that, like, all these offices, you don't need to have all those buildings. You can have your people work from home. We've realized that. You know, so paradigm shifts are going to be happening.
Well, probably as the band teacher, which I mean this in no way in insult, you probably don't have as the strict of a curriculum that you have to stick with, like during regular
No,
period.
you're right.
So,
You're right.
but
So I've got wiggle room, and because of my ability and experience in what I do with technology, and I mean, I'm not a coder. I don't get under the hood, but I'm a power user, and I know how to manipulate and use applications and software in ways that people don't really think about. Like, one of my main drivers and use of software in education is a spreadsheet,
okay.
is numbers, because I can utilize that in so many different ways to get the work in my workflow done that it's amazing. You know, lesson schedules, band rehearsal schedules, lesson planning, keeping track of historical lesson records of every kid. It's all done on a spreadsheet, and it looks good and pretty, and it's awesome because it works. And that's what I kind of pride myself on in using technology and being a power user, which lended myself really well into these freaking flying robots.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
One of the things I'm always proud to say, ready, here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
I build, program,
Yeah.
and pilot flying robots.
Yes.
How cool is that? How
It's
amazing.
Is that? Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I make art with it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like ice skating. The parallels in life are ridiculous, because my little girl started ice skating at pretty much about the same time I started flying FPV.
Okay.
My wife made. I'll give you the story of how I got into.
Yeah, well, that was going to be one of my questions.
Into drones.
How did
Here you
get
go. I'm
into
doing the
hobby?
interview for you, I guess.
Yeah, no problem. Spill it, brother.
So my wife bought me a drone for Christmas in 2000. What is it? 14 now, or I don't even know. I don't do math.
I thought you said spreadsheets. Wait a minute.
She bought me this drone, the AR Parrot drone. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it for Christmas, and she was so forward thinking that she also got me a little Sky Viper drone, because what if it's bad out and he can't go out fly and play with his new toy? So she got me a smaller toy. She's awesome like that.
Good.
So, anyways,
Keeper.
So and it was kind of crappy out that day, so I got to play with a little Sky Viper. So I started to learn how to learn, line of sight and all that. And then I got to play with of course, every stupid idiot. I fired up that AR drone, the AR Parrot. It's still in my back over here. I broke it. I haven't fixed it in years, but I cut my teeth on it. Uh, I, I fired that bad boy up and sucked it to the ceiling, sucked it to the wall. It was awful. But then I started watching videos, and I caught Crash Session from Procket. It was a bunch of French guys out in the woods during their lunch break, flying TBS. What were the names back in the day? It was TBS.
I've been in
I don't know.
year.
It was they were old school, running like CC3D, like helicopter flight controlling boards, and trying to modify them for 4 propellers instead of 1, and they're writing the code. But anyways, I saw this shit and it was awesome. It was like Ewok speeder Endor going through with drones and LEDs, and oh my god. Have you ever seen the video, Crash Session?
I can't say that I
If you haven't, I'll throw it in the link in a second.
Okay.
But it's amazing. It's what got my FPV juices flowing. So I got into flight tests and got looking at that, and built the Versacopter. I even had my little girl. That's how deranged I am. She knows how to solder, and she built one of the Versacopters with me.
Nice.
So, and she was like, I think 7 at the time.
Fantastic.
I came out with all the burnt fingers. She didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a whirlwind of like just drones all the time, unfortunately.
Well, I understand that, and it's like now I get a package in the mail, and my girl's like, "Is that a drone?" I'm like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I've got drone parts dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, Saturday.
I've even got my own little box of parts. The top is all brand new. The middle is kind of new. The bottom, frames and motors.
Wow. You see,
And then of course, just the ridiculousness of like, everywhere down in my basement. I know. I'm looking at yours. It's just like, wow, look at all that stuff. Yeah. Cool stuff to play with.
Nothing but fun stuff. I mean, but the difference is I don't have young children, so I can spend more money on my hobbies. So
yeah, it's definitely so I've managed the money. Okay. That's what, and I guess getting into this, like I think I've spent about, and this is conservatively, from $7,000 to $10,000 ish. But I bought all that stuff back on my credit cards, and so I don't have that debt. But that's pretty much what it's been like the last like 4.5 years in this hobby, because I learned real quick that when you buy something, you have to buy 2 of everything, because you're going to break the shit, or it's going to break on you just sight unseen. Because that's what happens in this hobby, unfortunately.
Yep. Well, with electronics,
Yeah, the stuff has gotten a lot more durable, a lot more robust. But as I was saying, I already broke my tiny trainer, and I had a very mild crash. And I don't know if it's one of the MOSFETs or whatever on the board itself, which would render the board ridiculous and gotta get rid of it, or if it's the motor. So, and that's another problem with this crazy hobby is the cascading problems issue, and I think we've kind of talked about that before too. You've got a problem, you don't know how to diagnose it, but you have 2 other underlying problems that are exhibiting issues too, and you're like, where do I start?
Well, yeah, I was over the guy who got me into this whole thing. I was over his house this past weekend, and he had a drone that they just couldn't get video out of. So I'm like, I'll take a look at it if you don't mind. And so I brought it home, and I took out the camera, and I swapped out the camera with a spare one that I got laying around. Still the same thing. Hooked the camera back up, took the VTX out of the equation, swapped that out, still the same thing. So it's like, I think it's something with the motherboard, you know?
Right.
Just being able, as an electrician, you know, a lot of this just kind of like, yeah, it kind of works all together, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's cool because you know I've always tried, I think, to be a critical thinker, especially when it comes to music. You know, how are you going to play this phrase, and what did the composer mean by playing or writing it this way? How are you going to interpret it and communicate it most effectively the way that the composer intended? You know, so you're always trying to think about, you know, how to do things and critically think about why things are done. And man, this lends it.
Oh, yeah.
That and patience, I've learned.
Stimulates
Yeah.
all the senses to me, for me.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
especially, well, the driving force is the end result of, for me, is the flight and the video
Yes.
after, to
Yes.
relive the flight
I
in the
flew that.
video.
I
I
did
mean,
that.
that's the two things that really get my juices going. I like building.
Yep.
I don't like repairing. It's just a pain in the ass to me. But I do like building a fresh build and doing a good job and doing all that stuff. But it's the flight and then the video review after and molding it together with music. That's what I love. That's why I love it.
Yeah, and with me, with just any video that I'm making, at the end results when you watch it, and it's like, yeah, I did that. But
Yeah, yeah,
being able to get that perspective that not everybody can get just is that much more. So let's talk about
So
gear for me. Go ahead. No, you. What were you gonna
so
say?
I threw in Crash Session. This is one of the
Where'd you throw
uh
that in?
in the chat there.
What chat were
The
you in?
the link to the video of Crash Section. It's in your YouTube chat there. Come on, Matt. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. That's all.
Mm. I don't know. We've got one Raz in here. Who's that guy?
He's one of the guys that hangs around and wins stuff on my channel. What's going on, One
Cool.
Raz? Yeah, I still don't see it though, but
It might be delayed.
probably. So how about let's talk about gear for a minute. Okay. What do you got?
Go at it.
What's your favorite remote?
Well, Tyrannus QR7. Well, you know, that's my go-to.
Okay.
I usually run two different manufacturers, three different types of frames for the most part. I do have other frames that I do run. Like I run the Umagod Remix. That's one of a freestyle frame that I run, and I put a 360 camera on it for, you know, really trippy, cool video and stuff like that. But the main ones that I run are QAVR from the Lumineer, and then the other one is Space One. And the two frames that I run from Space One is the Aurora and then the 220X. QAVR, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
But I run the first version.
This was
I still, that's version 2, I'm sure.
yeah, this was in the crate. This was in the FPV crate.
Nice, yeah.
And Bayside Johnny got it in the crate, donated it as a prize. Sal won it, and I was still the new guy. And he's like, "Hey, will you build this if I give it to you?" And I'm like, yes." And he's like, "Have fun." So
Nice.
So I'm taking it that 5" is your favorite platform.
Yeah, that's my favorite freestyle. I mean, I do run toothpick style micros and tiny loops. I've gotten into almost an X-Class style drones earlier on in life, but I haven't flown them since.
Okay.
But mainly 5". Yeah, 5" is the freestyle go-to, man.
Okay. So the
Mid-range, I don't do long range. I don't want to walk my ass when I crash.
yeah.
You know?
So you're not into Crossfire or anything like that?
No. Just old school FR Sky.
Yeah.
People can hate on me if they want.
Hey, you know, you got one of the controllers probably before they nerfed it, right?
Yeah,
With
probably.
the whole access thing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So I don't even know what. See, one of my problems is I'm still kind of. I don't want to be stuck, and
Right.
and that's why I continue to build and try and keep up with the shit. But it's so daunting because it comes out so quick. Like I don't know about all the new access or whatever and
Yeah.
upgraded firmware and it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. It is.
I
We.
fly fine with what the hell I have. I
Right.
could go
Yeah.
back to an age 32 and still fly smoother than most of you people out there.
Nice.
And I'm throwing it down, so go check out my videos.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I definitely like for you guys to do is to go over and check out his channel, Lewis P. Floyd. If you just check that, search that,
If you
you'll find it.
believe it or not, if you just Google Lewis P. Floyd, I'm the top one every time.
Nice. So I'm taking the Lewis is your middle,
Yeah,
and then P it's is for
is
Paul,
Paul.
and
Right.
where's the Floyd?
Floyd is my favorite band.
Okay.
Pink Floyd, of course.
Yeah. All right. All
Yeah.
right. Hey.
Uh, and two, it's a culmination of the old school porno name when you used to do it back in the day, right? I lived on Floyd Street in Utica,
Okay.
so that's where that name kind of originated from. So Lewis P. Floyd, and there's no leads in it. There's no numbers. I am Lewis P. Floyd everywhere.
Nice. So you're Utica born and raised?
No, I'm
No?
actually from Hannibal, near Oswego and Fulton,
Okay. I'm from
upstate
I was born in Albany, so
Albany. Okay, there you go.
so
Yeah.
but 8 months old I ended up moving to Binghamton and I've been pretty much here except for my high school. 14 to 19.
Uh,
But so you say that I haven't seen you at a whole lot of races. Can you talk to me? You know, you do a lot of freestyle, but what's your taking on racing?
it's good to do.
Okay,
I'm I'm too I'm too competitive to race.
okay,
I'm a sore loser.
okay, okay.
I'll be honest. I
I'm
am. I'm a sore
sorry.
loser. That's all right.
I
And your
beat you.
ass, I still got to get you too. I made a video and I even put it out there. So that's how sore of a loser I am.
That shows that you're a good loser. You know.
Well, it was a good race, man. It
Yeah,
really was.
it
It was an
was.
exciting. We had people screaming. Come on,
We had a lot of
dude!
fun.
For
It
little
was.
tiny drones going fast, like it's always funny to me when you see like when people do like the perspective of like in the goggles and it's going fast, and then you do the line of sight and it's like.
Yeah, it's really just creeping along. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, but that was such a great race.
it
We
really
we
was.
we were neck and neck. I made some mistakes that I shouldn't have, and I lost the race. You didn't win. That's how
I stayed
I'm
smooth.
gonna square it.
So, do
But
you think that a good racer makes a good freestyle pilot?
it's okay. Look, I'll use Vanover
Yeah,
as an example. He's bar none. He's the top guy. He's the
he's a
fastest racer.
fast racer. Yeah.
However, Min Chan, he's very good. He's a guy out of North Korea or South Korea, I think.
Okay.
He's very fast. When Vanover and him and Min Chan were in, I think the DHL in Europe. I don't know. Do you know about that league or whatever? So the DHL league was kind of like the DRL league or the drone racing league over here in the States, but the DHL was over in Europe, and they went to a couple of different things and a couple of different spots. And what they would do is they would go. They had teams, and it was like you would go like three people on a team. I forgot how it was organized, but Min Chan and Vanover, man, they were just, oh my god. I think Min Chan's faster than Vanover. He's just so tight on things. But anyways, going back to the whole freestyle versus racing, I think Vanny has it. He's a very good freestyle pilot. You have to have imagination. You have to have skills, and one of the things that stuck with me from Vortex, Jeff Orta, was saying that if you develop lines, which coming from racing, if you do any racing, you're going to develop a line. If you develop lines and do tricks off of those lines, that's going to create flow, and that's what you're looking for in a video. And one of the things I like to try and do is to create the flow in a one pack. I try not to edit. I try, and if I do an edit, I try and make that edit long enough that it's like, okay, you get a span of my abilities and my skill level.
Okay.
But I'm very particular in trying to get a one pack, and it's hard to do, and it's hard to make a good flowy, linked together, tricked out video that works with a piece of music that you're going to find afterwards. Because a lot of people ask me this, and I don't mean to bomb on any questions you might have for me later, is when do you listen to music, or when does the music come in? It always comes in after.
Yeah.
I try and find a good tune that links well with the flight.
And don't you love it when you find the right piece and it just like
yes,
some of the moves just kind of like goes and locks and it's like, yes, that was it, perfect.
Well, see, so now that kind of goes back to my music ideal, is do things in 4s, 6s, or 12s.
Oh, okay.
So if you're gonna fly pop and lock, try and go to a BPM of 120, because that's like what most tunes are at.
Okay.
So if you're cruising along, you're always counting. Well, I'm counting or thinking in those kind of lines to try and make some semblance of a flowful video that's gonna end up lining up to some music.
All right, so take a moment for me. So just kind of explain like your mental processes. You show up to a new site or an old site that you've been there before, and you're trying a different spot. Kind of like walk me through a little bit as to how you get going and how because warm up and how do you go about?
Well, I usually show up with a bunch of drums because I'm neurotic like that. But I end up using only 1 or 2. I don't usually do a first pack warm up. Typically, the first 2 or 3 packs are the videos. Especially if I go back to a place I know, and I try to go back to a place I know. And the most recent fad now is fly from a different spot from another, I don't know if you watch Stacey Albishire, another YouTube, freestyle guy.
There's so many out there,
Oh, there are, and there's so many good ones out there too, and that's what's maddening is that there are so many good saxophone players too.
Yeah.
But you never hear of
Kenny G.
Oh God, please no!
I'm just saying that's the only name when you say saxophone.
Oh God, it should be John Coltrane or Charlie Parker when you say saxophone, not Kenny G. but anyways.
Anywho,
but yeah,
we're back to flying.
Yeah, back to flying. That shook my head here for a second. But no. So the idea is to make a flowful video, and the first couple of packs that I show up with, if I show up to a new place, I do kind of do a surveillance pack, just to see if my radio frequency and my VTX, my video frequencies, are gonna be okay in that area.
Right.
To kind of check out my boundaries, make sure, don't go past that tree, video goes to shit.
Right.
Don't play around there, come back this way. So if it's a new spot, I do that. But if it's like my park or a couple of other spots, like my mom's house, send it, get it out, because it's a release for me.
Absolutely.
It's like music. It's a drug on when it comes down to it, because it's that
dopamine release.
Yeah, screw you. I don't want to talk to you. I want to go fly. it's that's what it is for me, and that's a fortunate, unfortunate thing sometimes because I'm an obsessive kind of a person, and uh, I'm always thinking of flying. I'm, it's just the way
I
it
see
is.
gates everywhere I go.
Yeah, yes. It's isn't it crazy? You look at the world different,
Oh,
and
totally.
it's given me so much different perspective on things because it's like you do look at things different, and now you do look at things differently because you pilot this stupid little toy.
Yeah.
What other things are you missing that you're not looking at that you should be? Is kind of gets stuck in my head. What other things that you haven't been woke to yet that you're missing that now that you're looking at that tree line is, man, I could
It's
rip
all.
through there.
It's almost like it opens up different sections of your brain. It
Yeah,
makes you
yeah,
aware of like things that you just didn't realize that you weren't aware of.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And it's so addictive that it's problematic sometimes. It really is. I gotta admit it.
oh yeah.
I have a family. They don't,
Share the
always
enthusiasm.
share my enthusiasm with flying because and it is obsessive, and I have to be cognizant of that and pull back. And I've had that discussion with the wife about, hey man, you know, but it's so fun. It's just I can't believe like here's the thing that bothered me when I first got into this was like I just showed you that video. How do you not like that? How do you not want to do that right now?
Yeah. So
It's
none of your
FPV.
kids.
It's this cool little girl loves it
Okay.
to a point. She's cool with it. She likes the fact that I fly around her. Like I've done skating videos for her. Like she's an ice skater.
Okay.
So it's cool to get that perspective of
But none
how.
of them actually fly themselves.
No, no,
Okay.
my wife doesn't. No. Well, we all did when we first started. When I got that little Sky Viper,
Okay.
my buddy John came up that Christmas too, and we were like, all right, we were fighting over the one, so we had to go to Wally Mart and
Get a
get
new
both.
one.
Yeah. So, to that point, and it's not that they don't like it or hate it or like it or love it. It's just
It's not their
it's
thing.
what Paul does.
Yep. But from the other aspect, not only because you're publishing your your videos, not
Mhm.
only are you having to pack up, then go and fly, then clean up, then come home, and then
It's
edit,
let's not
render,
forget about repair.
upload, repair. You
Yeah.
know.
Talking to people like you
Yep.
about the hobby.
Yep.
And it's very time consuming. That's why I'm enjoying the COVID-19.
Take it while you can,
But
right?
hey, this is great if people weren't dying
Yes.
because I go to the park every day to fly. I pretty much fly every day. I always have, but now the stress is not there that get home from school, I want to go fly. If I can't, or I try, got to knock it out of the head. You're not flying today, Paul, because you got to get dinner, and it sucks, and it's a bummer. But what
Yeah.
do you do? It's life. You got to go through that. But now it's like
Now, what about the sim? Do you ever get on? Have you ever been on the sim?
I fly the Sims very rarely. I can fly. I have fun doing it,
Right.
but I'd rather go out and send it
Yeah.
for real.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, the Sims are great. I recommend and have used the Sims in the hundreds, and I literally mean that hundreds of people that I've taught how to build, pilot, and fly their own robots. I use Sims very um, intricately with the kids that I've taught. Specifically, when I first started, I used FP or FP Rider. Was it FPV Rider or something like that? It was a free, easily downloadable, reacted really well. You hook it up to the Tyrannus. I had Max in my room, so I could. So I had kids. I had kids on Sims, um, and I thought that was very. I didn't give them any training wheels. They were Arco air mode or whatever you want to call it,
No.
right off the bat. Um, they cut their teeth on the sims. Then I had them sort of build tiny whoops and fly tiny whoops line of sight. And then with goggles, my school gave me $20,000 to buy drones, drone parts, goggles, and 5 Tyrannuses, and
Wow.
get a STEM
That's
program going
fantastic.
with drones. So that's where I was at like 2-3 years ago. And then my work with CNY drones. I taught master teachers and other people and talked to thousands of people about drones and flying FPV. And it's been a whirlwind, really. And
Nice.
it's been, as I said, time consuming because, like you said, flying, fixing, editing.
Yeah. So when do you sleep?
I don't.
Whenever you can.
Yeah, whenever I can.
So how
But
about
I
3D?
dream about flying when I sleep, so I don't get away from it.
So do you have any experience with 3D printing?
So that's one of the things that I do not have, and I've thought about it because it's definitely going to be a paradigm shift with what it is and how it works and where it's going. Um, but no, I haven't, and I should be because I'm a drone pilot,
Yeah,
and
you
that
should
goes
have
hand
one.
in hand.
Yeah, should have one.
I got a lot of friends that do 3D prints for me, so that I mean that's literally that's probably why I haven't really kind of jumped that shark yet.
So
You
you
know,
do have a guy then?
I've got several guys
Nice,
actually.
nice.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah,
good.
yeah, and they're really great about it too because Thingiverse is a thing.
Yeah,
So I've got what I wish
bring it on.
I got 3D molded pods for my Space 220Xs that I use all the time. I've got other versions with GoPro mounts, the
Okay,
sessions. So these are great freestyle pods. Keeps everything in. You can really go at things and bash into things, and you get close and not break.
nice. So let's see, what else haven't we really talked about? I don't know how long we've even been on.
Yeah. How long have I been tearing people's ears off? 10:39.
Um, it shows hour and no 40 minutes.
Oh boy.
40 minutes. Um, so let's see. I mean you pretty much kind of like read my mind. I didn't even have to ask you
Told
questions.
you I've done this before.
Hey, so if you were to give a new pilot um, two piece of his of like the most important advice, what would you give to a new pilot be?
If you build and you're a new pilot, make sure you build. That's number one. And number two, buy everything in twos because you're going to crash, you're going to break, you're going to need to fix. And that's a part, I'm really adamant about that. I think that building your own drone gives you that skin in the game that you need to get it done because you're going to encounter problems like never before. I've cried my eyes out over friggin' drones, and I'm a grown man crying over a toy. But it's so, it is that visceral thing that is just like, I got to do that. I've never had passion to do something other than music like this before in my life. And those are the two things to a new pilot, I would say.
Build it,
Just build your own drone because you're gonna love it. You're gonna fly it. You're gonna break it.
and
You're
you're
gonna
gonna know how to
cry.
fix it
You're gonna know how to fix it
because you put
because
it
and that
together.
and then that leads into the second reason why you buy everything in two.
Yeah, it's funny though because Ryan Rubberneck gave me that same
Yep.
advice. So, like the first two drones that I built, I actually have two spare motors for each one of those drones, like sitting on a
Yeah.
shelf.
No,
Just wait.
because you're going to ding a bell, because, even if you're racing,
Yeah.
or freestyling, crashing is involved. Crashing is an inevitable part of this sport, endeavor, passion, hobby, whatever you want to call it. And it's it's inevitable.
So I've seen you chase a couple airplanes. Do you know how to fly them?
So that's the next thing. My buddy John is trying to get me into his fixed wing, and I think I'm going to do it. I don't
Nice.
know. I've never flown anything fixed wing. I
Okay.
can fly pretty well line of sight drones.
Right.
I'm
You'll be able to
I'm
fly an
actually
airplane then.
yeah, I'm actually getting pretty good at that. Nose in is still difficult.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't go nose in too often. But I think a different world. I think with a drone versus a fixed wing way up in the air, nose in, because
Yeah.
you've got time to think. With a drone, you're like,
Well, that
which
and
way?
if you're a line of sight airplane pilot. I'm an airplane pilot, believe it or not. That's where I got into the hobby and remote control cars,
Mhm.
and I got bored of running up and down the city streets, looking for jumps and stuff. And the guy's like, "Well, you got to get up in the air." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, like some ramps and jumps." And he goes, "No, you got to get up in the air." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to get an airplane." I'm like,
Uh,
"I don't know how to fly an airplane. You buy one, I'll teach you how to fly it." And I'm like, "Really?"
Deal.
So I bought one. He met me down at the airfield and taught me how to fly. But the drone thing is a whole different story how
Yeah.
I got into that.
I remember when I was a child, man, I was really young. It was a very foggy memory, but I remember at camp, one of the campsites or campgrounds that we went to when I was a kid, going to this little pond and hearing the other kids at camp saying, "Hey, you gotta go see this." And this dude broke out like this first time I've ever seen a freaking RC helicopter, and it was huge. It was one of those monsters.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
was like, dude, this must have been in the 80s.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, 83, 4, 5, I don't know, somewhere. I was really young. And he flew that thing. Oh my. No, 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 no. It wasn't collective pitch. It wasn't
Oh
3D or
no.
anything. It was just, the old school.
Okay. Okay.
But it was so cool.
Nice.
It was so cool. And I think that's one of the things that got me, juiced up about RC when I was a kid. And then, I had the rocker, RC cars and all that stuff. But my grandfather bought me one of those freaking, it wasn't RC, but it was a string plane.
Okay.
One of the ones on the wire. Oh my God, so dangerous, gas powered. My
Yeah.
dad and I flew it once.
Ah,
it was so dangerous. It was ridiculous. But
some-
then that's the only I've ever touched RC before until I got into this drone stuff.
Yeah, some of the old timers in the RC, they tell me like the first ones they had a push button.
Yeah, and
One
crystals
button. It
and
was
stuff.
one
Yeah,
button.
yeah, left or right, or two buttons, two presses for right, one
It
press
was
for
one
left.
button, you turn left, and then you press it again, and it would go straight. You press it again, it would go left. That's all you could do is left-hand turns.
Yeah,
And it just flew it until it ran out of fluid or fuel and then crashed.
yeah.
Guy's
It's crazy
holding the
stuff.
airplane. This is 100th flight, and I said to him, "George, how many times did you crash out of those 100 flights?" And he's like, 99. So,
Yeah.
because that's what you did,
Yeah, yeah. Well, Aaron, he actually, when he was a kid, used to build balsa planes, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
The sticking, that'd be crazy. 3 seconds and crash after months of work. Nope, not for me.
I did ARFs. They were
What's that?
an almost ready to fly.
Oh,
So it was basically the body parts were assembled, covered. I had to put the servo and the radio in and the motor on, and then the wing would kind of fit in, and then
Yeah.
go fly it.
yeah. You wouldn't be doing the airfoil and putting the wing on. You'd just be
Yeah,
putting the
I
electronics
tried.
in.
I started a P-51.
Oh.
It wasn't a scratch build. Scratch build is like you get the plans to scale,
And then you cut the boards.
and they lay it out and cut it. No, this
Yeah.
was like it had the plans, but all the pieces were cut, and then I had to,
Right.
and I started it, and I am not a carpenter. I am an electrician through and through. You know, I can wire it. I can figure it out. I can, if it's got levers and controls, I can operate it. Pretty much anything that man has made. You know, so. But and drones just the airplanes. It's like you crash, like you said. You put it all together, and one mistake, and it's done. You know, with a drone, you know, the
They're a little
worst.
bit more resilient. They still break, but
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. But it's like uh, most of the time, it's like, oh, I got to put new props on. You
Yeah.
know, once in
Well,
a
it's
while.
funny. People always laugh when I say this, but I always say, I crash better now.
Yeah, yeah,
I crash more elegantly
yeah.
now.
You
My
learn to
crashes
tuck and
aren't as
roll.
severe. Right. Well, because when the old shit in your pants are like when to bail.
Yeah, and when
You
to
know.
disarm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and not ping
yeah,
pong all over the place.
exactly.
I,
So,
I remember I was playing with a friend of mine, and we were trying to fly close proximity, and he got into one situation. He just ping ponged. He posted it was like a 4-second video of him just ping ponging off of the top off of the roof. It got like hundreds of hits. It was hilarious.
nice. So, if you've made it to the uh, point in the stream where we're 45 minutes in. So, if you've made it to this point, you're going to get uh, a little bit of inside information. And anybody else will have to watch it all the way to get to here. But there is a little future of project that we're going to be working on. I'm not going to
Uh,
give specifics, but there is a future video
there's going to be a lot of crashing involved, I'm sure.
series that is going to involve some crashing and some teaching and some things that you can expect. But if there's anybody that's got any questions, there's like 3 people, 5 people. It kind of been fluctuating.
I'm boring.
My one of the things, like I said earlier, that they love live streams, but I don't do them enough to be, a regular, so that they set their calendar to. Some of these guys are like, I'll be here at 5 o'clock. Don't be late. And it'll be like 150 people sitting in the room waiting, you know. And then as soon as they start, then it's like 500 people, you know. And all he does is talk about a printer. But
It's crazy.
and
I know. And then there's this whole aspect of it that is just, I don't know, good, bad, or ugly. That's all of it, I guess.
what? Seeing this thing?
Yeah. That thing, yeah. Just like mine. It's just not
Yeah.
as long, but grayer. But no, the whole like the social media content kind of thing, like it's weird. I'll post, like, I try and post my videos Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay.
I have a backlog because of the COVID-19 of videos.
That's great.
It is, because I would get it goes back to the craziness. I would get stressed about not being able to post a new video because I don't have a cool enough content in a video to post. Now I've got so much of it. It's just like, all right, which one should I put out first? And it's funny because it's just like, I don't know which one I want to go out to be, that's going to catch somebody's eye. Like the plane ones, the chase ones. I put that out on like a Thursday night, and it didn't get any views. The first plane one, and I thought that the first plane video that I put out, the one with the flight test one with the LEDs, it was good music. It locked. I thought I did great job piloting. I got close, so close, so close. John did a great job piloting. The guy that was piloting. The thing was decked out in LEDs that changed color. I had the perfect sunset going. check it off. It was the perfect, but it got no views.
50 views. Yeah.
So it was like, all right, okay, cool. And then I put out another video similar to it on a Friday night the next week at like 8 o'clock, and it like immediately kind of blew up for me. It got like 10 views right away. And it kind of surpassed the other one, which I thought was way better, way cooler. I don't know. And that's what puzzles me about it. So I try not to think about when I post things. I just post them for me and anybody else who friggin' wants to watch.
Nice.
And I don't care.
And that's really kind of what it has to be. Just for me, I'm not trying to, at this point anymore, trying to go viral or, turn this into, an income.
There's no money to be made here.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, because I've witnessed it, if it hasn't happened by now, it's not really going to, because I've seen guys that they're like a year in and they're celebrating 10,000, 15,000, 20,000,
Well, I'm still sitting here with a meager 600.
Yeah,
And I've been on many shows like yourself and other shows that are bigger. I've even been on Rotor Riot as a spotlight.
Nice.
And
don't get nothing out of it.
No.
Yeah.
No, because I'm a fish in a huge ocean of other better FPV pilots. I just saw a video today. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my, how do these people do? How do you do that? And I'm struggling to do the things that I do. And this dude just like, wow, that just melted my mind. All right, sub. Maybe I can learn something from you.
All right, so I just came up with a question. One of the biggest things that I struggle with currently is just finding a place to go and fly. What do you look for in a place to fly? What would be like? Obviously, I know you got that office park that you post a lot, so that's a kind of a go-to place if you can't. But like, how do you find
in a place. I like to go to playgrounds because there's a lot of gaps there.
Okay.
I'm a proximity flyer. I like to fly close to things and try and do it as fast as possible without breaking stuff.
Okay.
And a playground is
perfect.
Great spot to do it, although very dangerous for a drone because it's all metal or, you push your equipment, you buy 2 or 3 of everything, and you go have fun and know you're going to break it and try not to cry about it when you come home.
See, I try not to break it. And I think I wouldn't say it necessarily.
I try not to break it either.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work out that way sometimes.
See,
I got to do this move. I got to do it.
Yeah. With me, it's more like I'm just trying to be locked with it. It goes where I want it to go, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do too, but through smaller and tighter and faster gaps.
The risks are a little higher, and I think one of the things that with me, I've been pretty much focusing on racing, going fast and hitting predetermined. What would
see, and that's where
what's the word when you dance? Choreography.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what dance is to me. Yep. Is like predetermined. These are the dance moves. You got to make them a certain way, otherwise you're gonna fall. Yeah. With freestyle, it's more like here's a piece of cardboard. Do your breakdancing.
It is, but to make a good freestyle video, you have to have flow. You have to. Even a breakdancer can't just throw moves out and not link them together. And it's like back in the day playing the linear fighting games like Street Fighter, Killer Instinct and all that. You had combos, you had things that you could do to make it flow together. Right. And the best fighters were the guys that could link those combos together and not give the other opponent a chance to even break it out of it, you know.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at flying those one packs in the freestyle. Is like I want to try and do as many cool things, as close to cool things as possible, to get that visceral cool look to enjoy later. And that's you know, that's where I'm trying to always go to. And in to order to develop the flow, I found that racing has helped, because as I said before, that line that you develop is that's your flow. You know, that's where you're going to start to know that, okay, I can do this link, you know, this maneuver here, and link it to this and that and the other thing. Like, one of the things that I thought was cool, going back to that other video that I was just speaking about with the airplane, was I tracked him for a while. And the idea was, and it was cool because we were standing next to each other, talking to each other. All right, I'm doing a left, I'm doing. So I knew what he was doing. We were in communication the whole time. So I was like, I want to try something. So as he came around this one portion of the college that I always go to fly to,
Right.
I was like, I'm going to power loop these trees to get back to him. So as we came around, I broke and I came back, which I thought made more interesting to the video, because now I'm not always on the plane. Now you're looking at something else. I did a couple of cool maneuvers. I went over these row of trees, and I knew where he was going to be. Went over these row of trees, S-split, power looped up backwards, and I saw him where I was, and then just flipped back over and then just caught right back with him. I was like, yes, that's awesome. But nobody sees it. Nobody watched the video. But that was one of the coolest tricks, one of the coolest thought out maneuvers that I've ever pulled off.
Nice.
And it took the idea of the emergence of, okay, you've got a line to hit, you know where the other thing is, just like in racing. You got to follow your line. Otherwise, people are going to bump you out of it. And I know that for a fact because Aaron always does it when I race. He and I are very close in because we always fly together, so we're very close in ability, and we're always hitting each other. You know, and because we're always trying to find that line. Right. And finding that line gives you the ability to then have imaginative thought off of that line, which creates your flow and creates the cool freestyle video that everybody's looking for, at least in theory. Nice. Mr. Steele just goes like that, and he's got a video that he shits. Awesome.
But he's like,
he is, but he isn't. He's, you know, if you've watched him too, he's talked to himself about how not to do that. Don't freak out, you know. But he's like, he's not somebody right now that you would show somebody who's never seen FPV before. It'd make them sick. They wouldn't like it. It's like if I walked up to you and said, dude, don't listen to Kenny G. Here's Ornette Coleman. You won't like jazz if you listen to Ornette Coleman, because you don't have the understanding, you don't have the perspective, the wherewithal, the theory and due diligence behind that art. Steele's the same way.
Yeah. You
can't show somebody a Mr. Steele video until you've shown them a stepping stone of what FPV is like, and the cool and easiness. And now here's what you can do with it. You know, that's the progression that you have to, you know, approach. I think these videos, they're like a fine wine. You know, you can you can taste the different notes. Especially in a Mr. Steele video, compared to like a Ladrib video or a Vortex video. They're all awesome pilots with inspirational moves, but they're all different. They're all great in their own way.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping to be, is in my own way, for some reason, whatever. And I kind of care that I want people to see it, but at the same time, I know what I can do, and I go back to the saying that I always say to a lot of people is, proof is in the pudding. You think I can't do it? Well, guess what? I've got 50 videos that says otherwise.
And another thing, for what I've put in my mind is like, there may come a day where I won't know my grandchildren or great grandchildren. And now there's something
God, I never thought of that. That's pretty
that they
cool.
can
Yeah.
go and look and like, that was your grandpa. See, he did that. That's him in the video right here. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
my
never thought of
legacy
that.
is
That's
being
pretty
left
cool.
behind. So, but yeah, I look forward to our upcoming collaboration. I think that with our creative minds put together, I think that something good's going to come out of it. So,
Should be fun. I'm excited. We'll have to discuss it another day
yeah, absolutely.
about what we're gonna do and get it done fairly soon.
Yeah. You stick around, but everybody else, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Paul, for indulging us. And,
Well, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. And everybody else, happy printing, be safe pouring, and have fun flying. Peace
Yeah,
out,
keep those
everybody.
props up unless you're doing an inverted yaw spin.
Yes, which I won't do because I'll tell you why after I end this stream. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
And as soon as I did that,